All right, so 12A, we're looking at surds, right? And this is divided into 3 exercises. I'm going to teach the first 2, all right? 12A1, 12A2, you guys can have a go. And then when we come back from recess, we'll have a look at some of the later questions as well. So I'll grab the whiteboard, we'll get straight into it. We have a radical is any number which is written with the square root symbol. Okay, that's what we call a radical. And a surd is a type of radical. It's a real irrational radical. And we've got some examples there. So when we say it's irrational, that means it can't be expressed as a ratio and it has an infinite number of decimal places. It keeps going forever. All right, and then we've got some interesting properties. So for us, surds and radicals mean the same thing. That's what the third sentence says. And then we've got these properties which we're going to apply here. The square root of a times b is equal to the square root of a times the square root of b. We have the square root of a on top of the square root of b is the square root of a and the square root of b. So they're going to be the ones that we tend to apply right at the start. So let's get straight into these examples then. So we have root 8 times root 8. Now one way you could solve this is by putting it in your calculator. All right, that would give you the correct answer. This kind of question, we probably won't ask anything like this. But I'm going to explain it in a number of ways. All right, I'm going to try and explain it using these surd rules, right? So at the moment we've got it written like this, right? We've got root of a times root of b. So one way we could write it is the square root of 8 times 8. Couldn't we? We could write it like that. All right, that big root a times root b is equal to the square root of a times b. All right, and that would be the square root of 64. And the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, so that's a really long, complex way of doing something that should be pretty simple. All right, when we see square root 8 times square root 8, the square roots are going to cancel, the answer is 8. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have 3 lots of root 5 times 2 lots of root 5. Now, order of multiplication doesn't matter. And that's something that's very obvious. Like if I say 2 times 3 times 4, all right, 2 times 3 times 4, it's the same as 2 times 4 times 3. It doesn't matter what order I put these numbers in, the result is going to be the same. Similarly up here, what this actually means is it's 3 times root 5, okay? 3 lots of root 5 means 3 times root 5 multiplied by 2 times root 5. So again, I'm going to stretch this out to just show different ways of working it out. So we can, because order of multiplication doesn't matter, we can rearrange it. And we could write it like this. We could put the integers next to one another. 3 and 2, they're the integers. And we could put the surds next to one another. All right. Now, 3 times 2 is 6. And root 5 times root 5 is 5. 6 times 5 is 30. So again, I've solved it in a rather long-winded fashion. We might ask something like this, but it would only be worth 1 mark. Okay? Any questions so far? Very good. So, on to the next one. We have square root of 25 on 10. All right, so we're going to use surd laws to simplify it. Here's one way we can express it. The square root of 25 on the square root of 10. Okay. And the square root of 25 is 5 on root 10, isn't it? Now there's one thing I haven't put in here. Whenever we perform a square root, we should have plus or minus, shouldn't we? So I should have one there, and I should have one here as well. Okay. All right, let's move on to question 2. So I might clear off A, B, C unless there's any questions. All right. Question 2 says, write in the form A root B. Now this is going to be this kind of question is going to be something that we practice a fair bit to develop an understanding of. what we're trying to look for is what square numbers are factors of that. So if you think of the square numbers, they are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, okay? 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5, etc. So we're saying what square number multiplies into that? What can we see?
9.
9, very good. Yeah, 3 is not a square number, but 9. Yeah, it will be. Square root of 9 is 3, very good. So we can write this as 9 is the square number, and what do we have to multiply it by? 2. Okay, so why did I go from 18 to 9 times 2? Well, they're the same thing, but why did I choose this one? Well, 9 is the largest square number that is a factor. Okay? Then what we're going to do is write it like this, square root of 9 times square root of 2. Okay, we're going to split the surd. All right, and the square root of 9 is, you're correct, Francesco, 3. Okay. All right. So that's A. Let's move on to B. Square root of 125. And so when you're looking at this one, all right, this is where it's helpful to know factors. But one thing we can do is just take that number and go, oh, can I divide it by 4? Can I divide it by 9? Can I divide it by 16? We should see it does divide by 25. This is equal to the square root of 5 times 25. In fact, I'm going to write those around the other way. 25 times 5. All right, so 25 times 4 is 100, right? And 25 times 5 is 125. Then we can split the root. So we have square root of 25 times square root of 5, which is 5 root 5. Okay, square root of 25 is 5. And we have the root 5. We've got 5 lots of root 5. So it's A, B, C. All right, we'll do question 3, and then we will stop there. So I can write this out. Anyone still writing it down? Okay, question 3. A and B. 2 take 3 roots. Okay, so 3 lots of root 5 plus 7 lots of root 5, 10 lots of root 5. All right, you just think about it like they're like terms. We're going to collect them together. 3 lots of x plus 7 lots of x, 10 lots of x. 3 root 5 plus 7 root 5, 10 root 5. Okay, and then over here we're just applying the distributive rule. So we're going to distribute this 2 to both of these. So if I have root 2 times 2, the correct way we would write that is 2 lots of root 2. Okay, so the first one expands to 2 root 2. And then we have take away, we've got 3 root 2 times root 2. All right, I might write it out. We have 3 root 2 times root 2. Okay, that's what we're performing. And root 2 times root 2 we know is 2. So we have 3 times 2 is 6. 2 root 2 take 6 is our answer. Very good. So I'm going to stop there. That's enough to have a go at the questions for 12A.1 and 12A.2.